And hello again, everybody, and welcome to South Florida's racetrack. Welcome to Gulfstream Park. At this time, we ask that you please rise, remove your caps, and honor America in the playing of our national anthem.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream today. Ron Nicoletti along with Mackenzie Pfeiffer, and it is another Chamber of Commerce day here in South Florida. If you like sultry weather, fast-made track, firm turf course today, and the all-weather Tapeta. Of course, it is mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six today. Mackenzie, race number 4 is where it's going to kick off.
Crazy if you don't go ahead and jump in. You have the free PPs. We give everything we can to you. So go ahead, get your feet warmed up in those first 3 races, and then dive in with us on race number 4.
Yeah, that's right. We got the free PPs that you can get. There you see it for daily racing form PPs at Gulfstream Park. And just a good day, as I mentioned, with a fast main track. Not only that, we have the place pick A. We'll talk about all those wages as we go along. But before we get into the card, I wanted to take a moment to thank you for joining me this weekend and making it a lot of fun. We're not done yet, but with knowing me, I'll probably forget later on. So I want to make sure I thank you, and it was a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun, put it that way.
No, it's been great to be down here. I mean, once it's warm, it's warm. So hot is hot. Maryland's the same way this time of year. But hopefully keep going back here and have a little action going forward.
I don't want you to leave at all, but that's the story for another day. We'll see how that plays out. So we're going to jump right into today's card, and we're going to start it off on the Tapeta. It's 5.5 furlongs. These are maiden claim is for 3-year-olds and up with no scratch. We have the very few scratches today, a couple of when we get to the later part of the card. Mackenzie has her early pick 5 ticket that she's going to show you now.
I went ahead and tried to find a single, and I just sort of resigned, said, let's be modest here. $24 ticket, and I think it's a fair way to go ahead and play this. The number 5 in the first race here is my top selection, Sim Salabim, and then 2 deep again in race number 2, 3 wide, really spreading out there in race 3, the 4, 5, and 7. The 4, Hippie Hippie Shake.
Hippie
exactly
shake.
What I'll do if we can go ahead and catch this early ticket. And then 6, 7 in race 4, and the 3 and the 8 in race number 5 wrap things up. $24 ticket.
Yeah, 3 and 8 looks good in race number 5. Kate the Smate. And do I look worried? And You certainly do not. With that ticket, you're going to take a good shot today. So getting into this first race, we both sort of landed on the number 5 horse in here, and that's Simsalabim for Mike Yates. Before we talk about it, I'll just show you stats so we can get that out of the way. Second after a 45 to 180 days layoff on Topita, he's solid 20%, 51%, good return of investment. Prentice Pedro Pena in the saddle.
And I think that does help. The weight was off last time out. This one ran very nicely. Interesting, we saw Lasix go on 3 starts back. This is a lightly raced individual who took class relief, found a level where we saw some nice progress. The blinkers came off as well, and so just slight adjustments. Second off of the bench here today. I think we can go ahead and expect another step forward. 5-1 on the morning line I thought was really interesting.
Is that? I had no idea. I thought he was the favorite. Who's the favorite then?
Well, and that was sort of where I was intrigued. The number 8 I use as a second choice in here, and I do really like. I'm just not entirely sold on the distance.
Yeah. What about we use the similar horses. What about the number 8 Iron, the French horse? First off, the claim by Sal Santoro.
I really like Sotos, to be honest. There aren't a ton of them. But this is one who I thought ran very well. No More War, watching that replay from the 2-back effort. I was impressed with the way this one handled shortening up. The outer post, I know we handled it last time out, and maybe the class relief just helps him be the class of the field, but he wasn't a horse I could single, even though I do like him.
Well, the morning line favorite in here is the number 4, Smell of Money, and it's just a drop from 35 to 12.5 for top connections with Jose D'Angelo, but we both tried in our own way to try and beat this horse today.
Went quick enough early on and then, kind of stayed along but didn't really do a whole lot. You can say that's a first-time starter, but not enough so that I was willing to take 9 to 5. I felt like that was, insulting to me as a handicapper. I need to demand just a little bit more.
Well, it's been a very successful move horses doing this kind of drop all summer long, and I never fall for it, and Brian does it, well, Buddy Brian is on vacation, does it all the time, and they've been pretty successful. And they don't look good, but when they drop, but it's usually, like you. You got to prove it to me first. I'll sit and watch one. Second race this afternoon is this one is 1 mile on the turf. It's a starter optional claim for 3-year-olds and up, which started for 12.5 or less. No scratches in the race. This is where the place pick 8 is going to kick off in here. And of course, if you're not aware, 15% takeout. You got to pick your horse. It's got to be either finish first or second. You see it, $1 minimum, real great bet. If you can put this together, you could score.
You can. Now, here's the problem. I think your top selection is actually going to beat me in here, and I just couldn't quite bring myself to resign, but I will use him in my place pick 8.
You're talking about the 6 Quizler.
I am, and I think this is a horse who has some back class, is very good at the distance. I think you can argue all of those things, but I didn't know if he's really held on to that late kick that you like to see going a mile in some of his recent starts. That's where I was a little hesitant to take him at a short price.
Well, let's show a replay of his last race. We're going to pick it up for our turn to the wire last time out. I just thought he ran okay in this spot. There you see he's the number 5 horse in here. And what I like, the reason I would show you, typical turf race, he's got to find that room to run. And, and he's sitting behind the 2 horse in the race, who's the 6 to 5 favorite. He's got a sort of minor steady right there. And then you're going to see him still looking for that room now. Is this what cost him during the race? You see, he still has to try and find, and there's the seam. He tries to get through the seam, and he just finally gets through.
Exactly. What stands out to me.
And then he closes.
He does. Now, the winner you see on the front end was able to was under a nice hold, was relaxed, and was able to just kind of get everyone to play his game. And then he gets to the turn, kicks on, sprints home. And so it's hard for a horse to look flattering. I tend to look at races where they lost. I want to know how they do in defeat.
Right.
And Quizler, I'm forgiving of it, but I didn't feel like I saw that late flash, and it could just be the pace compromised him, and another chance here makes sense.
I just don't know how much. I'm not going to say, oh, my God, he had a terrible trip, but he certainly was a little bit, maybe wanted to make a move sooner than he did and couldn't reel in the top turns, and that's the beauty of handicapping. You see it one way, I see it another, so we'll see how it plays out. What about the inside horse, No More War, for the one and only Bobby DeBona? And this one, you have to respect everything he brings to the post.
You do. I maybe prefer him going a mile and a 16th, but the way he's finished off, I do think he's tactical enough going the mile. You saw him take class relief for the 25 and was able to win going 7.5. That was what really sold me on this horse. I don't love that you don't see him really get his head down. He's not necessarily my favorite type of style turf horse, but what he's shown us in these last 3 starts, I really appreciate. And he was against good company, and he ran well against them. So I'm willing to go ahead and see. I have a hard time betting horses who are on a win streak, though, because I always feel like I'm going to be unlucky.
Yeah, they claimed it for 25 back in May, and he's in for the $20,000 tag. You would think after reeling off 2 consecutive victories, they wouldn't want to lose this horse, and they'd put it in for the claim optional condition. But he's in for the $20,000 tag, and that sort of made me a little leery in there. So, saying, okay, but the connections love to win, so they're just putting them, and you want to claim them type thing, you can claim them in there. So I think that's what it is. And what about the 5 Grand David for Amazadi Jalute?
This one, I mean, he has some speed. He's likely going to have some company sitting pretty close to him, but he can hang in there going the mile, and that's where I found him pretty intriguing. There are some horses who I thought could be overlooked, the 2 and the 5 in here, where because you have horses taking class relief or who've been consistent at the level, you might get a fair price on these.
And the horse was stealing bases for me. He was the number 2 horse who was sharp in victory, and he shook off early pressure. He defeated those 16 condition claimers going a mile. That was a good turf that day. Frank Reglabudo has Leonel Reyes named to ride, and Leonel, one of my favorite jocks on the turf course. He'll be in the saddle today, and we'll see how that one runs. 3rd off the claim for Frank Reglabudo, and as I mentioned, pretty nice performance against those condition claimers last time out.
You talk about the distance. He's 3 for 5 in the winner's circle going the distance as well. So if you can go ahead and fit him, which based on the internal fractions we've seen from him, I do think he fits with the group. Just a class test here today.
Race number 3 this afternoon is a mile in the 16th on Tapeta. It's a maiden claimer for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up with no scratches in the race. And you went with the number 4, Hippie Shake for Kathleen O'Connell.
I'm going to convince someone else to do this dance. I'm not much a dancer myself. But this one comes in, has 2 starts off of quite a bit of a layoff there. And I thought the class relief in these recent starts made this one sort of logical. Trying to demand just a little bit of interest here. I like that Herrera gets on. And it's always, you give him 2 starts, today's the day.
Yeah, I like the price. You're getting 6-1, and I did go with Come On Poppy in here. Come On Poppy, is rallying second at the level on Tapeta. 2 starts back, returns to the surface today. The Tapeta, after finishing, I guess it was an okay 4th against 17.5 maidens going a mile on the turf. But Victor Barboza Jr. is pretty sharp with horses changing surfaces. He's like 21%. List on my ticket. We're a little different in this race. You have them a little further down. Tell me about number 7, Loyalist, who I also used on a ticket, who was, 24-1 last time or something?
Oof, yes, you are spot on. Good memory. This is a horse who can be forward. He has a little bit of speed, but it was just the change in style that we saw last time out where I wondered how much speed is actually in this race, and could this horse end up, if they want to clear from the outside, maybe they have the chance to do so. Otherwise, quick enough from the gate, I think he'll sit right there. And so whether he ends up alone on the front end or not, I think he's a really interesting type. Still a fair price and looks to be finding his best.
Yeah, with you like those horses on the all-weather Tapeta that make that speed swoop on the outside. You don't want to get down on the rail, at least the way it's looked in there. Maybe a horse like List in this particular race is stretching out to the mile in the 16th after finishing either 2nd or 3rd in 6 consecutive races going a mile 70 yards. They finally said, hey, let's try something different because the mile in 70 is not getting it. I mean, you would think at least once they would have tried the mile in the 16th before this.
Right. Now, it's kind of intriguing to me because this is a horse who you see the last out and you just the quick comment line that this one, surely had more to offer. But you look a little bit more, and this is a horse who seems like maybe she likes to hang, maybe she gets a little distracted, maybe she has a hard time finishing the task at hand. And that's where I kind of look at that 3-back effort where she gets disqualified and taken down. So 5-2 on the morning line for me is just not the price that I want on a horse like that. You have to get up to kind of 4-1 for me to buy in there.
And she got beat as the odds-on favorite last time out, that's what I'm saying. All these races, look, second, third, all at a mile 70 odds, all at this level. So trying something this, we'll see how it turns out. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have Rainbow Six tickets. So hold on.
Win big with new DRF All Access past performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all 3 past performance formats. Easily switch between views. Access the most trusted information in horse racing with DRF All Access past performances. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
Well, I think what My Racehorse does is it gives owners an opportunity to get involved in the game.
Very much enjoy sharing the barn visits and those big wins.
Straight no chaser in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Authentic has won the Kentucky Derby.
It allows everybody to come together to own a horse, whether you own a microfraction or you own 50%. It's the same feeling you get when they win.
I'm Dan Blacker.
I'm Safi Joseph Jr.
I'm Todd Fletcher, a trainer for My Racehorse.
Sees the race, wins the Preakness.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today. Ron and Mackenzie, 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf, an allowance optional claimer for 3-year-olds and up. No scratches to let you know about. And what a great way to start the mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six with a 2-turn turf race. We both put tickets together. Let's check out yours first.
Yes, 3 turf races in this sequence. Now, when I looked at this first, I said you either single here or you spread. I ultimately ended up trying to spread around. And the way I play my tickets throughout the day, I kind of wanted to try a few different structures so that I hedge my bets a little bit. 1, 5, 6, and 7, but Paris Surprise, the one who I think is the horse to beat in here. Use a little bit of a value in races 5 and 6, and so 2 deep. Felt like I could justify it here with this mandatory payout, and I just felt like it was worth spending a little bit more. 3 deep there in race number 7. It's 5 furlongs on the turf. You have some speed and very competitive girls going up against it. And then race number 8 with the 3 and the 4. The 3, my top selection, Zozan, and wrap things up 2, 4, 5. I think the likely players there in the 9th will get back over to the turf course to close out the day.
Yeah, we lost Megacles into the big favorite. I pumped up one more Duke, but I'll show you my ticket now. We'll go through it real fast. You can see I went to 3 deep, similar to what you did here in race number 3. In race number 5, I went 4 deep in there. I was a little confused. Kate DeSmate maybe, but that was the one that confused me. International single today is going to be Cross Haste. Now, you use 2 in there. If you beat Cross Haste, you're going to get paid very handsomely. Everyone, I would say 99% of the people are going to sing it. 4 deep in race number 7. Top pick now is the Greenfield Cougar. Lost my long shot today, Spinelli, to number 3, who I really like. Race number 8, just 2 for me, same 2 you used. The Zozan, bumped up Brooklyn Boy. And in the last race, I went 4 deep in there. And my top pick now is one more Duke with the scratch of Megacles. But I took the 4 horse, who I think might be the speed of the speed in there, and see how it plays out.
And I think a good way to play it, $76 is a really solid investment based on the payouts that you can see in this mandatory payout.
I just need that 2 to win. I got lots of coverage all over the place, and we'll see how it is. Now, getting back to this 4th race this afternoon, we also have the Tropical Turf Pick 3, I believe, in here. I put a ticket, and I could not narrow this one down. So I think it's $54 in here because I just couldn't figure it out. So 5, 6, I never have tickets this high, but this thing, if it hit, these numbers hit, boy, you're going to get paid very well. It's a $3 ticket, a $3 bet with 15% takeout. And as Pete Aiello calls it, Overlay City. It certainly looks like it's going to pay a lot if you can get it done. So almost an exact rundown of what I did in the Rainbow Six using the same horse, just 1 less in race number 9. Getting back to this 4th race this afternoon, how did you start off with the number 7? Yeah, I think Paris Surprise might be the one to beat.
Well, I first looked at this and I just said, okay, I either have to single him or I really have to spread out and try to beat him. But he ran so well last time out for me. I think it's hard to argue a case against him in that scenario. Barbosa does a very good job. I think the connections all line up here. And I think the distance, getting back to the mile and a 16th, works so much in his favor and doesn't hurt that the winner came back to win again.
No, that's the right thing to do in there, really, with the 7 horse on top. And also the 6 team of rivals are stepping up to face winners for the one and only Jimmy Toner. We'll show you a stat before we talk about this horse with Jimmy Toner. And this is maiden winner's last out on the turf. He's unbelievably good, 26% positive return on investment. I just think he's one of the great guys, one of the great trainers ever. So I'm always looking to see him run. And the horse fits.
It does, and this is kind of the horse that made me not single in this race. I think he's one who he has a ton of upside. He's lightly raced. We haven't quite seen enough of him yet. Faces winners for the first time here today, and so I think there's a very valid argument now that we've seen him kind of figure out how to get his nose in front. Can he go ahead and move forward here? He sits the right kind of trip as well.
Well, Paul McKenzie sits in the office with me and he hears me whining about one horse in here positively, and that's Yankee Drummer. And I want to go back and just show you this horse's last race. He's 12-1 on the morning line. I thought he ran his eyeballs out last time. I'm going to pick it up. There you see him. He's the number 5 horse, Yankee Drummer. Now he gets the lead. Now before this, he's hounded all the way. Yeah, right?
He was. He took plenty of pressure, and I thought he made a nice, confident move into things. And then he tries every step of the way to just kind of hold these horses off. You'll see No More War kind of running on late, who we talked about is going to run as well today. But that is a huge effort from this horse.
Oh, I thought he ran so well. He just gets beat a whisker in there. And, like I said, we picked it up on the turn for home. He was on the lead or just off the lead all the way from the gate. So I thought he ran a great thing. Let's see. Let's hope we get 12 to win. Rajiv Mirage, I think, had a couple of wins yesterday. Surely had one. I think 2. I'm not positive. Don't leave that one if you ticket it, whatever. And you got Naughty Nicks. That's a price horse on the inside.
I just kind of found this one interesting. Now, I'm a big fan of second and third time Lasix. That was where I went ahead and saw this horse as maybe give him a little bit of a shot in here. He's a 3-year-old, and I think there's something to be said for you have to demand value. But at 20-1, I do get that. He has class, and he's run very well. You go back and look, going a mile in the Columbia, he's against Alpeland, and he's faced him a few times. So if you look at his company lines, wouldn't he be a standout? 20-1 just seemed crazy to me.
No, that's horses you got to try and find in these tickets like this Rainbow Six and stuff. Now I have to go back and add another horse. Dennis, our cameraman's going to have to lend me $20 to add that one more horse. So let's go into race number 5, where you have your late pick 5. It's 5 furlongs on the Tapeta Claimers. These are fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. First scratch of the day was in this race is number 2, Facet.
And this one I was sort of intrigued. Used her underneath, but it's not a problem because I go ahead and narrow things down to 2 in here with the 3 and the 8. The 8 being my top selection, actually, and a little bit of a interest here. So go ahead with 2 deep in the 6th race as well, the 2 and the 5, and then spread around that 5 furlong on the turf. I think it's hard to separate those. We both seem to be in agreement. 3 and 4 there in race number 8, and wrap things up the 2 and 4 and 5. Similar horses, just kind of different way that I'm structuring them for the pick 5 and the pick 6.
Yeah, one more Duke looks like the speed. Supreme Honor looks like he'll come from off the pace. So it's the way it is. We lost a big horse in here with Mega Cleese, but hey, that's what makes this even more fun. Now, did you go with Kate the Maid in here on top?
Sorry, Kate this Mate, I ended up using as a second choice. I just was a little bit intrigued by the 8 on the outside and felt like you could go ahead and argue the case for a little bit of value. But Kate this Mate is one who's had 2 starts off a little bit of a freshening. Every reason to go ahead and continue on with things in here today. Is probably going to put the pressure on the speed and be involved in there. But I love how game this one has been. So I'm not arguing against her as top selection.
Yeah, and third of the form cycle. Maybe you get the best this afternoon. You mentioned Duel throughout. Do I look worried for all the reasons you mentioned? And I used the fire on the wires, hoping to cure the chalk burning status. Duck Inwood at the start. He was the favorite last time out. Victor Barboza, Pedro Pena got good connections.
And this one looks a little bit silly, and so maybe you just have to kind of be forgiving there and watch the price here. But has shown the ability to come from off the pace a little bit. Can sit a little bit closer. You go back to that second start, was pretty involved in a strong opening pace as well. So I think there is reason to respect this one. I use underneath as well.
Yeah, you get a little bit of what I'm trying to see. It's 7-2, certainly. Race number 6 this afternoon is 6 furlongs, fast main track, Claimers for 3-year-olds and upward. We'd have a scratch of the number 3 Fast Fixes, so we have a field, excuse me, easy for me to say, of 5. And this is where the summer sweep is going to kick off this afternoon. 2 races from Parks. Mackenzie and I were both looking at it. We've got some interest in those Parks races. They're pretty good today. Got full fields.
They are, and we're working on putting our ticket together. So we have until 3 o'clock here for race number 6 to kick off and get our summer sweep ticket in. But I really like the sequence, so should be fun.
Let's show you. Sorry, Mackenzie. Let's show the replay of Crossed Haste, Kinetic Stone, Holy Stick, Entendre. All gang was all the way here, and what a great job they do upstairs to point them all out. Now just watch Crossed Haste now. I'm not even going to mention it's first off the claim by Victor Barboza Jr. He does unbelievable. It just says, I'll see you guys later.
He does. No, it's intriguing to me. This horse landed inside and was able to go ahead and just kind of set sail. Didn't have to do too much work early on. And we saw the same thing in the 2-back effort as well.
Right.
So that, to me, the horse is just coming in with confidence. I agree he is the horse to beat in here again today, because as soon as I see that and he sort of lands inside again here, it's his race. But, I think I go ahead and try to hope, just with the, options as far as these tickets go, that maybe I can beat him. But for your sake, I know he's a single, so we should get him home.
Kinetic Stone was fresh and pressed the pace, was no match for the top horse. But hey, you got to run these races. I want to show you a stat now with Victor Barboza Jr. Now this is first off the claim, and I narrowed it down. Dirt sprints in the last 5 years. Oh, he's only 45% with 71% in the money. So not only is this a good horse, you go into barn that moves them up first with the claim. And if you move him up any further, he's going to win by 20 lengths. But, hey, after all this talking, I can't tell you how many times I've come on and said this and gotten beaten, with a single in your Rainbow Six. And everybody knows that. And like you did, you used another horse like Kinetic Stone. And if you could put a B ticket together, maybe not use him and use everybody else, you could score. If you beat him, you win a lot of money.
And that was kind of how I looked at it. And, I thought maybe I'd single in one or the other. Really maybe go to that late pick 5 and try to single in there and, keep both other ways. But I think it's a very logical explanation. Kinetic Stone has a lot of work to do because he's coming in, haven't seen him since early June, and he's run well. He ran a very good second to Cross Haste on that last outing as well, but he needs to pick up a little bit better than he left off.
Now, Bo Chapman just started training over the past year, and he's done this 61 to 180 day low. If he's 2 for 6, 33%. So, hey, can get horses ready, and that might be it. He might be the fresh horse in the race and get the job done this afternoon. Going to race number 7 this afternoon as I turn all these pages. This one is 5 furlongs on the turf. It's an allowance optional claimer for fillies and mares 3-year-olds and upward. And you went with the number 4 horse in here, Suwin. As I mentioned, I had this horse when he paid $26 and $22. So I have a nice warm spot in my heart for this horse.
I love those types. It's like once you figure out a horse and you feel like you really know him, you just wait for him to come back into the entries. Suwin, for me, I went back and forth and I just kept moving these horses around, but this was the horse that I kept coming back to because even with the scratches, I think is able to sit comfortable, doesn't need the lead, has a ton of early speed, and isn't going to be sort of caught 8 wide as well. So that's just the sort of the perfect trip. I went back to this race and just really looked at how is it going to shape up in the opening quarter and around the far turn. I think that's where you're going to win this one.
But yeah, and I had Spinelli as my long shot in the race today, and I just thought that that was the horse I thought that can beat. Maybe beat Suwin, and then you got Greenfield Cougar, who is their choice on the morning line now with the but I want to show you what Greenfield Cougar. I'm just going to show you to start what he's done in his last few races, and we're just going to pop that up, and you'll see here he'll come out of the gate as sort of, we'll call it that. He's the number 6, and he just does this in the last couple of races, and I think that hurts his chances today in a race that all right, it's a compact field, but I think you got to be up with the pace.
You do, and I have a hard time with those types because once they kind of get into that habit, it's hard. And it seems like once we saw the layoff from 25 to 26, we haven't seen that early speed that was there before, because this is a horse who, she was quite good from the gate for the first half of her career.
Oh, yeah.
And, landing outside, I felt like she had every reason. She wasn't in the gate too long. She should just pop right out. That being said, she's one who I if we can overcome that, she's run very, very well against tough company.
And, then you got Great Venezuela, number 8, that we both have on our ticket. I bumped it up to second with the scratch of Spinelli. This horse is the class in the field, but also you can make a case that this one's lost some of its luster in the last couple of starts.
That is the question, and that's what she'll be answering here today. So 9-5, I think, is not where I want to be singling with this horse.
And we also have the late pick 3 starting here, and I think it paid very handsomely yesterday. I think we could pop up what it paid, and it was pretty good. And if you're not aware of it, a 15% takeout, and we have a 50% takeout, and it's the last race. Oh no, yeah, there it is. $491, pretty nice.
It is, and this is a great race to go ahead and get involved and watch the board. Even with the scratches, I think it's still very competitive, and it should be a pretty fair race to kind of find something early on to take a stand with and then get through these last 3.
Yeah, and there it is, $3 minimum, 15% takeout. And yesterday was pretty formful, and it still paid $491. So I think that's something you have to look at in the race number 7. Got these great wagers. Now, these wagers are not just for these Mondays. They're going to continue after we stop this Monday racing and continue through the meet and have it at the championship meet. Boy, I think they're all going to send it in there. Race number 8, 1 mile claimer for 3-year-olds of 4 and up, which have never won 3 races or a race since February 17th. So triple conditions in here, but we did have a scratch of the number 1 Blue Slide Park and the number 6 Willing One, who I like this afternoon. Boy, I keep looking. I don't see anybody that can beat Zozan.
That is the question. Now, here's the other part is when I'm looking at this for these multi-race sequences, this isn't a race where I want to be single. So that's the other part. You get a sort of narrow field, but I feel like it is a likely winner. And that's why I kind of went ahead and used 2 just to back things up. But Zozan, if you draw a line through that turf effort and just go back to the 2 back, this one should go ahead and set sail and kick on.
Well, if you don't like Zozan or you think Zozan can beat, if like I said earlier today, if you have singles somewhere else, I think you go deep in this race. I'm not totally convinced. Now, Brooklyn Guy, we both have in second. I want to show you a stat with the Ronald Corey with the 61 to 180-day layoff on the dirt. He's solid. He's 25%, and he's got a positive return of investment, so I'm liking that. So maybe the 4, maybe this is the one that can get to Zozan today.
I felt like I have really needed to use both of them. The class relief coming in here today was a big standout for me, and I think if we can just go ahead and get this horse back into action. Last time we saw this one coming in off a little bit of a freshening was actually in my neck of the woods. Up at
That's right.
Or maybe not last time, but you go back to April of last year. This horse ran well against pretty solid horses for the level, and it just felt like maybe he comes in fresh and benefits today.
Well, let's flip the page and go for the final race on Monday, and it's a mile and a 16th on the turf. It's a claimer. These are 3-year-olds and upward. Don't forget races 8 and 9. We got that $5 late daily double, which is also good. We'll go over these during the lightning round. Big scratch in here of the number 3, Mega Cleese. You went to the 5, I Wish You Love, and I just did the Steve Big Show, and he likes this horse this afternoon. And for let's see if it's the same reasons you like it.
That'll be curious. We'll see if we can team up on this one. Now faces winners for the first time, but I have really no problem with this horse. The blinkers went on a few starts back. Seems like it's just propelled him forward. And if you go ahead and look at what he's done, it's only 2 tries on the turf. The rest have been on the synthetic. Perhaps this is a horse who just has a little bit of a preference. Can't we go ahead and argue that? The pedigree screams that this is exactly where he should be, and I think it's a reasonable spot to keep moving along with things.
Now, I said Mega Cleese is out of the race, so we're going to still show you the replay with him out because we got one more Duke, Guido, and Ganador in the race. And one more Duke is who I bumped up, and for Mike Yateson's got some speed. And they can see one more Duke on the engine. And we watched this race a couple of times where Malcolm X just swooped up on the inside and stole the race. But I thought that one more Duke ran okay in this race, and I think it's easier with Mega Cleese out.
I think you're absolutely right. Now he's tiring a little bit, and I'm willing to be forgiving of that because he's a horse who I think has recently started to stretch out, and that's something where I'm thinking maybe he could go ahead and continue improving. He has a few routing races under his belt. He looks to go ahead and have a chance to be involved in the pace here, and if things carry him along a little bit, that's where I kind of use him. The scratch of the 3 moves him in just a little bit more. That if we can kind of nurse things along on the front end for the first half, he makes sense.
Does Supreme Honor maybe sits the perfect trip if the number 4 One More Duke that gets it a little leg weary in the stretch again? Does Supreme Honor pick up the pieces?
He absolutely does in my eyes, and that's where I used him. Now, I'm not entirely convinced, but getting a bit more ground might actually be in his favor and could move him up again here today. He's a horse who, if you think you have the speed coming over from the 4, the 2 is going to sit right on the rail, just switch off and be able to relax, very similar to what he did the last time.
You know, we have the super high 5 in the last race, and a horse like the number 7 Giro, who does not like to win, one win in 28 starts, always seems to run his race and gets 3rd or 4th, so why not use him on your Triumph Super?
You respect horses for different things, right? And this is exactly where you go ahead and use this horse. He's one who he does find his way to get involved, and perhaps that's exactly the key here.
Well, that is the 9 for us, but we're not done. We have our multiple award-winning lightning round coming up now. I give them awards out myself, so we'll see how it is. And we're going to start off. Of course, what we like to do each day is go back and revisit our stakes action from Sunday, and we'll show you that. There you go. Fancy Performer wins the Frolic's Revenge and came from, I don't know where this horse came from.
Well, I don't know where the pace came from was sort of where I was thinking. I watched the opening, and then all of a sudden it is quick, and I think, oh my goodness. This is a horse who I had strictly in second because I didn't expect the pace, and then sure enough, benefits every step of the way. Great price at 8-1.
Yeah, the 6 was the favorite, and it just did not fire. And this horse really ran a great race, so congratulations to all the connections. We've mentioned it numerous times today. Today is mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six. They're estimating 400,000. Free PPs?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to go ahead and grab those while you can and take advantage of it. You know, get a little bit warmed up and then get ready for race 4 where the action kicks off. And you got to be in it to win it.
And then we have this summer sweep, I believe, at 15% takeout. And we're partnering with Parks today. And those are 2 good races up at Parks, races 7 and 9. We have 6, 7, and 9 here. So that is a good bet because it's retail only.
It is. And look at that. You have an hour and a half from 3 o'clock to 4:30.
That's what I like.
Yeah, just enough to kind of get you through the end of the day. And, you know, it's a Monday afternoon. Those drag on sometimes.
Yeah. Let's see other bets we have here. What are we popping up next? It is the stakes. I mean, the late pick 3, I believe it is. Coming up, place pick 8. Yeah, right. Well, it starts up race number 2. First or second, dollar minimum, 15% takeout. Mackenzie and I are going to get this one of these days.
I think today might be the day.
Pretty
committed.
There you go. We'll try it.
I think it's reasonable today.
It's a lot of fun because you pick a horse a lot of times and it finishes second. Here's the late pick 3, 15% takeout. We'll show you again. Paid $491 yesterday. That's a pretty nice payout for that bet. So each and every day. And the beauty of these bets is the 15% takeout. So you get a chance, and of course you get share of 1 million points when you bet this on a Monday. You know, 1 million points when you hit Gulfstream's 15% takeout player pick 3. You don't get all million of them. You get some of them.
That's okay. We'll take what we can get.
Yeah.
And, you know, as we were talking about it on the show, these last 3 races are really good. We could be looking at a nice payout as we did yesterday.
Yeah, they're pretty wide open. A couple of scratches made them fun. And then you got the late daily double, $15 15% takeout. Great wager. You know, I always like to bet the late daily double. It's always been one of my favorite bets. And your best bet today.
Best bet of the day. We are going to go to race number 4 in Paris Surprise. We talked about how this is a race where you can make a case for a lot of them, but this to me is just the horse to beat. So you either take a stand with him or against him here, but he's a very, very live horse in the group, and so I have to give him a lot of respect.
Over the last 400 years that I've been on TV, my best bet, they call me a chalk-eating weasel, but this is the horse that I singled in the Rainbow Six, so I made it my best bet this afternoon, and I think he's the one to beat in that race. I lost my long shot. What's your long shot or value play?
Well, and that was exactly it. My value play comes in race 5 with the number 8, Do I Looked Worried. Now, I might be looking that way depending on how things are going in these tickets, so hopefully we can get through here. But this is a horse who I just thought has a little bit of upside, isn't going to be a huge price. The 9-2 I thought was just fair enough in this kind of a sequence.
Well, the pick 5 pool approaching 25,000. That'll certainly spike upward. We're going to turn it over to Pete Aiello with all the scratches and changes. And Mackenzie and I'll be back here throughout the afternoon, hopefully give you some useful updates. We'll try at least.
Do our best.